Stepping into Estadio Azteca on opening day is an assault on the senses. 80,000 fans draped in green and yellow create a deafening roar. Mexico enters their record 18th World Cup, carrying the heavy mandate of the host nation. For this squad, the mission is specific: finally break the historic round of 16 curse that has defined their modern tournament history. Across the pitch, South Africa returns to the global stage after years of rebuilding. They are a nation that understands this pressure intimately, having hosted the World themselves back in 2010. While Mexico relies on their history of World Cup consistency, South Africa arrives with the dangerous momentum of recent successes in African football. It's a matchup where pedigree meets a rising challenger. This opening match hinges on a single psychological factor. Will the massive Azteca crowd act as a 12th man that propels Mexico forward, or will it become a crushing weight that South Africa can exploit? Mexico's need to dominate at home manifests in a highly aggressive 4-3-3 formation. They intend to play on the front foot from the opening whistle, relying on absolute possession, using fullbacks to create overloads on the flanks that pin opponents deep. South Africa counters this with a compact 4-2-3-1 setup. Structured to absorb pressure, they aren't looking to fight for the middle. By inviting Mexico forward, they deliberately create massive pockets of empty space behind the Mexican defensive line, which their fast attackers exploit. This match represents a direct structural conflict. Mexico is desperate to dictate the play, while South Africa has set a calculated trap to catch them overextending. Success for either strategy depends entirely on the midfield transition. Whoever controls the middle of the pitch controls the outcome. Edson Álvarez is Mexico's essential defensive shield. His role is to anticipate the counterattack and neutralize South African threats before they can gain any momentum. He faces Teboho Mokoena, engine of the South African side. Mokoena is the primary ball progressor, responsible for turning a defensive recovery into a lightning-fast break. It's a high-speed game of cat and mouse. Mokoena must escape Álvarez's shadow to launch the attack, while Álvarez must suffocate Mokoena to sustain Mexico's pressure. The winner of this isolated one-on-one duel will effectively dictate the tempo for both teams. Mexico is most vulnerable the moment they lose the ball. That is when South African attackers sprint into the gaps left by Mexico's advancing fullbacks. This forces Mexican center-backs to organize a retreating line while running backward, a massive physical challenge under the intense auditory pressure of the Azteca. Conversely, South Africa's defense will be pinned deep for long periods, tasked with neutralizing the clinical movement and aerial threat of goal scorers like Santiago Giménez. Both defensive units will be pushed to their limits by two teams playing very specialized opposing styles of football. We are looking at two distinct paths to victory. Mexico could break South Africa's resolve through relentless possession and the overwhelming noise of 80,000 supporters. Alternatively, South Africa could stun the home fans into silence by weathering the early storm and landing one lethal counterstrike. These 90 minutes will define the tone of the entire tournament. It is the first great clash between a heavy national burden and the dangerous freedom of the underdog.